beautiful people, Leticia here, coming to you from a park on the outskirts of Mexico City. I've been wanting to do another live stream for a few days now, but I was traveling, as some of you may have seen. I went to Querétaro, which is a city about 2.5 hours north of Mexico City. I wanted to check it out. A wasp just landed on my phone right now. I hope she leaves. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an update from here, let you know how things are going over here. So as I used to as well, I'm sure many of you are fans of the Dollar Vigilante and Jeff Berwick, who often live streams or does videos from Mexico because he lives in Mexico. And I just want to tell you guys that, you know, things are not as rosy as he portrays them to be. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. So, you know, from what we can gather, he lives a pretty privileged lifestyle. Like, I don't think he does his own shopping. He has servants doing that for him. And so he hasn't had to live the life that everyday Mexicans or even ordinary expats live. Like, and by that I mean people who don't necessarily have the financial means that he has. I mean, he was recently on a private plane and so on. So those of us who are gonna live, you know, just a regular life, and if you're gonna have to shop in stores here. So again, what I can report is that masks are ever present. People are wearing them, walking outside on the streets with their families, or with their husband or wife, or even when they're walking alone on the streets, people are wearing masks, which is, of course, very disappointing to me. In every Uber I've been in, I tell the driver, you know, this is all a farce. I tell them that this is a global agenda, and all of them have agreed with me. But they feel they have to wear the mask for work. Now, as they were talking to me, a lot of them are pulling their masks off, and I'm like, yeah, please don't. You don't need to wear the mask for me. You know, I tell them. And again, I feel like here, as in Canada, I'm gonna continue being an example of normality. So we were on the tour bus, the Touribus, when we did the tour of Mexico City with my son. And of course, you know, when we got on the bus, the señorita tells us that we have to put the masks on. I still have the mingle masks, which are these plastic masks that still let you breathe. And so we put them on for 2 minutes, and then we walked upstairs, not even 2 minutes, and then we walked to the upper area of the bus where we sat at the back. Nobody came to check. We took them off. And we had them off the entire time. And there was a family in front of us. Everybody else had their masks on, you know. There was a family in front of us, two families, who, after, I guess, seeing us not wearing a mask for quite a while, they took off their own masks. So that made me super happy. And then they were starting to take normal pictures. Yeah, it made me very happy. So I guess the message is, wherever we are, we can be that beacon of light. We can set that example of normality for others. The height of idiocy is that I'm in a park here, right? And as I walked in, I've come to this park two times. First with Anthony's aunt, and then just me and Anthony one day, and we walked right in, no problems. Today, as I walk in, señorita is trying to tell me that I have to put on a mask. I'm like, I'm walking in the park. Why do I need to put on a mask? I'm like, I put on the most offended, disgusted face. And I kept walking, right? And like, no, you need to. He's like, you need to have one to get in. I'm like, okay, now I'm in already. Thank you. I just kept walking. Thankfully, she didn't come running after me or anything. But I'm like, wow, the idiocy. Another thing that happened, and again, at the airport, of course, you're being told you have to wear a mask everywhere. Hola. Yeah, I had to go to change my flight. So I'm at the airport in Mexico City, Terminal 2. I walked everywhere without a mask on, no problems. I was the only person without a mask in the whole airport. Nobody told me anything, but when it came time for me to actually change my ticket, the ticket counter guy, who is behind the plexiglass screen, wearing a cloth mask on his face behind the plexiglass screen, and basically he tells me that in order for him to assist me, I have to put on a mask. And again, I could have, like, I put on the mingle mask. I should have not. I should have said to him, you know, you're behind the plexiglass screen. Like, how is my breathing and my particles gonna cross through the plexiglass screen? Like, the idiocy. Like, it's obviously all about compliance and nothing to do with health. Nothing at all. Anyway, so yeah, I should have fought a little harder. I feel like I just said, yeah, okay, you know. No, the reality is this was the fifth time I was trying to change my flight, because I had called 4 times, and 3 times, I guess because it was like Mexican Independence Day, I got cut off, so I wasn't able to make the change telephonically. I chose to go there in person because I was tired of waiting in line and then getting cut off. Anyway, todo bien. Everything was, I got my flight changed, so we're actually heading to Merida tomorrow, which was my initial destination. So I'll be a little more settled. What else is new? Oh yeah, in case any of you guys are contemplating coming here, I told you I got myself a Mexican phone, and the person who sold it to me at Sam's, Walmart, Supercenter, whatever, and again, I went there because my Mexican relative told me that, you know, they have better prices on electronics there. Okay, fine, I went there. She told me that the plan I got, which was a prepaid plan, was unlimited everything. That was not the case, and I found that out the hard way when I'm, you know, in this unknown city trying to use Google Maps, and my data was off. So it turns out it was unlimited text and talk, but only 2 gigs of data, which obviously got finished in like a week or less than a week. So, you know, instead of having a nice touristic visit in the city of Querétaro yesterday, I had to deal with that, because without GPS, I wasn't going very far. So as it turns out, yes, you can definitely buy the prepaid plans you can buy prepaid plans as a foreigner, as a tourist, but you're not gonna get a lot of gigs. The maximum number of gigs you're gonna get is 5 gigs, and you're paying the equivalent, like, for the amount, and like I would have had to keep refilling. So for me to get, let's say, 10 gigs of data, I would have had to pay maybe 66 Canadian dollars a month, which I know is cheaper than in Canada, but by Mexican standards is quite a lot. So and I'm still paying for my Canadian phone, which I reduced to just talk and text. So anyway, I went, talked to the phone card they gave me is from Unifone, which is a subsidiary of AT&T. So I went to the AT&T store, which was open, and the guy tells me, yeah, no, you're better off doing a monthly plan, but for the monthly plan you need to do a 1-year contract. And if you're a Mexican, like a Mexican resident, which I'm not, you could spread that over 6 months. In my case, that wasn't an option, so I basically had to pay for the whole plan up front for a year, which ended up coming for a 10 gig plan. I'm just letting you guys know in case any of you are contemplating coming to this side of the world, how things are, you know. So in my case, there wasn't the option of paying monthly or even dividing things for 6 months. I basically had to pay for the whole plan up front, which was like 276 Canadian dollars. It's not huge, but you know, it's an expense I wasn't expecting or planning for, but lo que pasó. And then it comes down, you do the math, it comes down to what, $35, $36 a month, something like that, for a 10 gig plan. But now I'm done. Like, in other words, I won't need to pay for, my phone is paid for a year in advance. And again, I thought to myself, well, I may not even be able to stay a year, because technically with my passport I can only stay 6 months. I'll see if I'm successful in applying for the residency and staying longer. We'll see about that. But I did the math, and even if I spread the cost over 6 months, I think that was actually divided by 6, it was coming to like $35. It was still cheaper than what me doing the prepaid reloads was gonna cost. So yeah, when you hear people telling you that, yeah, you can get a plan for like $20 a month, yeah, if you can live on 2 gigs of data, perhaps, you know, but that's not most people. And like, I plan to keep doing live streams, and that obviously eats up some data. Yeah, so that's that. Another thing that I've discovered is in Querétaro, my plan was to drive from Querétaro to another city called San Miguel de Allende, which is a very pretty city, and it's actually very popular with expats. Lots of retirees, lots of arts inclined people live there. And I thought it was about a half-hour drive from Querétaro, but no, it was more like an hour drive. And while I'm there at the AT&T store, waiting to get my phone changed, because they had, he had to basically convert my prepaid number to a monthly one, and it took a little while to get all that done. While I'm there, the staff there tells me that if I want to travel to San Miguel de Allende, in order to get into the city, I have to show the police proof that I'm actually staying there overnight. So I couldn't just, because our plan was to just go for the day, walk around a bit. Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. Apparently they just turn you away if you don't have a reservation. And it wasn't my plan to stay overnight, so that plan went out the window. And plus, by the time I dealt with the phone thing, first the phone thing, and then another little incident that happened. So I got a rental car, like I said, in Querétaro. So I took the bus from Mexico City. And by the way, you can travel very comfortably on the bus. They have, well, it was supposed to be Wi-Fi service, but their Wi-Fi service is limited to Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. So basically, you're using your own data if you're on one of these Mexican buses. I don't know if other companies, but that was one of the fancier ones that we took, and it was like about $35 for me and my son to travel from Mexico City to Querétaro. So bus was very comfortable, no issues there. They had programming as if you're in an airplane. So honestly, like in Canada, I know bus travel in Canada is like the lowest of the low. Like, sad to say, but it's not. No, the buses in Canada are nothing compared to these. Like, these guys have very comfortable, very nice buses. They lean forward, they have footrests, all that kind of stuff. And what I found out is that they actually have no passenger trains in Mexico because there's not enough money to be made. And I guess certain politicians and like whatever, there are political interests that are keeping train services, which would be a lot faster and cheaper. So somebody told me that there was a proposal to build a train from Mexico City to Querétaro that would have taken people here to like 50 pesos, which is a fraction of what I paid. It would have been like less than, I don't even know what 50 pesos is, but it's like $7, something like that. But no, there's not enough money to be made, so they prefer to charge people a lot more in pesos for bus service. So that's that. Even though apparently Mexico has a very complete railing system, but they only use it for transport, for transporting merchandise, other things, not humans. Okay. So what else? Oh yeah, so I tell you guys, I'm in my rental car. My data was finished, so I'm trying to find a place to load my data, and you can do that at any convenience store. They have these stores called OXXO. If any of you have traveled to like the Riviera Maya, you will know them because they're everywhere. Usually they have them attached to gas stations, but not always. They're just literally like convenience stores, and you can get your reloads from there. So I'm trying to find one of those things. Anyway, next thing you know, I make a right turn on what turned out to be a one-way street, but it was like a 4-lane one-way street. Great. Next thing you know, there's a police officer on a motorcycle that, first of all, when I realized my mistake, I'm like, oh shit, I better turn around. Obviously the cars that were coming from the opposite direction slowed down for me because there I am, like the tourist, Anyway, the police officer basically stopped the traffic for me. I think he was at that location for a reason, because I'm sure I wasn't the first person to make that mistake, because it was not obvious signage. There was no signage that was a one-way road. The only way you're supposed to have known, thank you, Roxanne. The only way you're supposed to have known that it was a one-way road is because they had the street that I was coming, I guess, south on was veering to the left, and I should have known based on that you could only make a left turn, not a right turn. So great. Anyway, thank goodness nothing worse happened. But yeah, I got pulled over by the police officer. Pulls me over. Thank goodness I speak Spanish, because honestly, only a small percentage of the population speaks English at a conversational level. According to my hotel staff in Querétaro, he said that in his estimation, about 5% of the population speaks it. So yeah, so again, police officer pulls me over. He tells me that I have to give him either my driver's license or my car plate, because of course I committed an infraction and I needed to, and for the municipality to know that I was gonna pay. That's how they do it over there. And I questioned him on it. I'm like, really? What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, see, señorita, that's what happens, because in order for the municipality to ensure that you're gonna pay this fine, they have to take something from you. So either your driver's license or your car plates. And I'm like, I have to return this car in 2-3 hours. It's a rental car. There's no way I'm gonna be able to give you this. And we're supposed to go back to Mexico City tonight. And he's looking at me, I'm looking at him. I'm like, what? How about you just like let me go, because I'm not from here. And he's asking me, do you have anybody else in town? I'm like, no, because I mean the only person I knew was the person from the hotel. And no. Where's your husband? Like, no, I don't have a husband. I'm like, okay. And then he looks at me and says, what are we gonna do about it? Well, I said to him, well, maybe maybe I could just give you a regalito, like little gift, just so and we can fix it this way, right? Thank goodness I speak Spanish, because to have tried to explain all this, or for him to explain to me what he was explaining in Spanish, and like, if I hadn't understood, that would have been a problem. But yeah, so anyway, bottom line, he drives me to the local HSBC, where I proceeded to take out some cash, and then he waited outside the HSBC for me, but I didn't give him the money. He motioned for me to follow him, and then we went to a quiet street, and así lo alegramos. That's how we fixed it, okay? I ended up giving him like 300 pesos, which is the equivalent of about 18-20 Canadian dollars. I know I'm not proud of it, but like, that's kind of the lay of the land here. And the alternative of him taking my driver's license and or my car plates, yeah, that wasn't gonna work. So I don't know. I guess I'm grateful that nothing worse happened. I didn't, because that could have resulted in some accident, me driving on a one-way street. I mean, not that I drove for long. I realized my mistake and I was turning around anyway. But anyway, interesting experience. It's not the first time this happens to me in Mexico. Like when I traveled to Cancun a number of years ago, same thing. I was speeding on my way to the airport to catch my flight, and again, get pulled over by a police officer, female police officer in that case, not that it matters. And I'm like, I'm gonna miss my flight. I can't, like, look, I have 100 pesos left. Will you take it, please? Just take it, please. Because she was wanting me to come with her to the police station. And like, I'm gonna have to look into what the law actually is, because that woman, at least this was in Quintana Roo, which is, Cancun area. She was claiming that because I was speeding, I had to go with her to the police station. And I'm like, what? I'm very close to the airport, and they've always got helicopters patrolling in this area. And if it's not a helicopter, then you're gonna hear all kinds of flights. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's what happened with the police officer. Thank goodness, all's well that ends well. We made it back safely into Mexico City. I didn't have a chance to visit, again, didn't get a chance to go to San Miguel de Allende. Only got to see Querétaro, and only got to see the historical part of the city. It's just pretty. It's colonial. Querétaro is one of the cities most in crecimiento, in growth currently in Mexico. So I saw a lot of new builds, lots of condos, lots of new construction, a lot more modern looking than the pictures that I posted. But again, we didn't have a chance. Oh yeah, final surprise. Of course, I had to return the rental car with full gas. So of course I stopped by a gas station, and at the gas stations you don't fill up your own gas. They have people doing it for you, which is fine. They don't charge you any extra. Like, you're welcome to tip them a little bit if you want. But anyway, I could not freaking believe how expensive gas is. So as the rental car, the only car she had on the lot at the time was a little Volkswagen Golf, which by the way was like 45 Canadian dollars for the day. Just about the same price we would pay in Canada. Okay, I was like, that's fair price. Kind of expensive for Mexico, but I was like, okay, I guess that's the price. Wow, I could not believe the gas. So I didn't drive much. I only had used up about 1/8 of a tank of this little car, and when I do the fill, it ends up being like 300 pesos, which is about again about 20 Canadian dollars for 1/8 of a tank of a tiny car. So I do the math, and it's like, you're telling me that a tank of gas is going to cost me 160 Canadian dollars for a tiny Volkswagen Gol? Like, I don't know how people drive over here. It's extremely expensive. And I guess it's, I mean, because that same tank of gas in Canada would have cost me maybe $45, $50 tops. So now, on the other hand, and I hear in that city, and I asked them, like, is this just in Querétaro or is it everywhere? No, everywhere in Mexico. Apparently, gas is crazy expensive, crazy expensive. And I guess that's the reason we see a lot of old cars on the road, because people, like, if you have a car payment on top of the expensive cost of gas, that's not very sustainable. But to my surprise, the Ubers in Mexico City are quite affordable. Apparently, they're not so much in Querétaro. Querétaro apparently is just an expensive city in general. But Mexico City Ubers, yeah, like about a 40-minute drive would cost me like 13 Canadian dollars. And that's a long drive. That's when it was surging or whatever. But most of the drives have been costing me like $8-9 for even a long half-an-hour drive. So yeah, just kind of putting things in perspective. Okay, I don't want to make this stream super long. I just kind of want to update you as to my Mexican adventures. My Humanity Rising YouTube channel is finally up again, thank goodness, but I don't know for how long. Again, I have 2 community guideline strikes. If I get one more, or better put, when I get the next one, my channel will be deleted. Because I've been traveling, I haven't had a chance to recreate that channel on BitChute or Library, but that's going to be my next step. Hopefully by next week, I will have my Humanity Rising channel on those other platforms. Because, you know, it's my pleasure to keep posting any freedom related materials. And my next step also, because I'm seeing just how sadly indoctrinated people are over here. And again, Dollar Vigilante is not going to tell you this, unfortunately, but I'm telling you because I'm on the ground having to go into stores and walking around. Again, he tends to go to these very luxe destinations where, you know, people, like, he pays them so much money that they'll do exactly, you know, they'll do what, you know, they won't bother him, you know. But if you're just a regular Mexican or even a regular expat, which I'm not yet, because like I said, I'm just here for a week now, but I'm just like seeing what it's like. No, it's gonna be a very different experience. And now, that being said, thankfully, again, even though they have the mask sign, so even on the bus from Querétaro to Mexico City, they had signs everywhere that you're supposed to wear masks, sanitize your hands, wash your hands, all the bullshit indoctrination that we see everywhere. And everybody else was wearing a mask. I got on the bus without a mask. Anthony was not wearing a mask. We were not stopped at all. We were not even asked about it. I guess maybe because they see us speaking English. Like, I'm aware that I might be benefiting from some gringa privilege, because again, we got on the bus, they didn't ask us to put on a mask. Again, the only place I was asked was at the airport from the guy behind the counter, behind the plexiglass screen. And again, the large stores, they're pretty anal about it. But I mean, the only large store I was in was the Walmart, and other than that, farmers market. The farmers market, the market that looks kind of like St. Lawrence Market, they do have one guy at the door asking you about the mask. Now, I'm pretty sure that I could just say to him, listen, I have a health condition, I can't, no puedo, you know? Because I've been doing that for the hand sanitizer everywhere, and 100% success. The moment I tell them, no, I use my own, no puedo usar esto, like I can't use this, I'm allergic, they leave me alone. They leave me the fuck alone. And I told the locals, I told my Uber driver about it, and he's like, and that worked? I'm like, yeah, you know? So education, telling people that they don't automatically have to put that toxic soup on their hand the moment they walk in, because virtually every store you walk in, there's a person there offering it to put it on your hands, and everybody just takes it. And I'm like, no, I used my own, which I didn't, but whatever, like, I'm not gonna put that toxic soup on my hands. Anyway, one last thing to say. I know this is telling you lots of stories. Yeah, one last thing. I have the honor of being a guest speaker, one of the awesome guest speakers at an upcoming global health and empowerment conference. So it's a health, freedom, human empowerment global conference called Turning Point 2020, and it's taking place between October 17th and October 25th. So it's a week-long mega event The organizer specifically wanted to have people that are in the freedom movement have a presence, because like many of us, he's very concerned about the infringements on our freedoms, including health freedoms. His background is he's a natural health practitioner, a very successful, very well known, and he has organized other large scale events. Some of the confirmed speakers for Turning Point 2020: Dr. Rashid Buttar, Del Bigtree, Master Shah, again, absolutely amazing, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. And again, I'm very honored to also, together with our amazing friends from the freedom movement, Chris Sky, Vladislav Sobolev, Kellyanne Wolf, and hopefully a few other people from the freedom movement that I've put the organizer in touch with. I want us to have a presence there, and again, this is a global event. I'm gonna be sharing more information soon. Thank you very much, Brittany. Yeah, I'm very grateful. More information will be available soon. There is a charity type ticket available, only $5, and that gives you access to an entire week of speakers. And again, that goes to a good cause. It's something called Clinics for Humanity, and it's basically an initiative that will support alternative medicine, so essentially natural type healing modalities in countries that need it, and in locations across the world that need it. Something similar to I guess Doctors Without Frontiers, except we're talking about, yes, it will be I'm not sure exactly which platform they'll be. It's an online conference, it's an online event, and speakers will be from around the world, literally. Yeah, and again, the initiative called Clinics for Humanity is meant to support natural health practitioners such as chiropractors, naturopaths, homeopaths, all these other types of therapists, to support communities across the world that need the help. It's sort of an alternative to Doctors for Humanity. I forget the name of the other organization that we've all heard about, which again, I'm absolutely not against. I just think we need alternatives to the established medical system that we all know that there are a lot of issues with, especially with the upcoming proposed vaccine that we all have a lot of concerns about. So again, I'm honored to be part of this event. I'll share. I know. Thank you very much, Renee. I'm very honored and grateful, and I'm equally proud of our fellow freedom fighters, and anybody who's taking a stand for truth and freedom across the world. And I'll keep doing everything I can from here. Oh yeah, so like I said, one of the initiatives I'm going to be starting is a Spanish language YouTube channel, possibly BitChute channel. I know that's not gonna, it's gonna be for people mostly here in Mexico and other parts of the Spanish speaking world, because and I know I'm not the only one, but I feel like now that I'm here, I feel like I can make a difference. I'll do what I can to make a difference. Okay, thanks everyone for watching. I'll be going live again at 4 p.m. EST today with another Money Matters webinar. Hopefully some of you can join. Myself and David. David is an amazing mortgage broker. He works with self-employed individuals. He makes things happen that your bank won't be able to make happen. Let's just put it that way. So he'll share more about that with us, and you're welcome to join us. And otherwise, I look forward to doing more updates yeah, sharing with you what I'm seeing here, and also doing my best to stay abreast of the freedom movement and contribute in any way I can. Thanks everyone for all your efforts in the name of freedom and empowerment for all. Much love to all of you. Okay, blessings. Mwah.